Let's just take 1 minute before we begin to gather ourselves and bring ourselves here so that we can be fully present in this moment. Staying with our breath for these few moments, breathing in and out. Invoking Mother's presence and grace and light. Thank you. So, good morning and good evening. Thank you for joining in this week's study circle. We'll be continuing with our exploration of psychic education, and yeah. So last week and the week before, we had taken these points that we were reading, and we said that we'll, look at the sleep and food one again, in more detail from the sunlit part. So I think it's always nice to take an overlap. So we can just read the three that we did last time, and then we'll go to the sleep. I think sleep also we did. So the four we can take, and then we'll start with before you act. So if anybody is willing, they can just read a little slowly these lines, and if not, I'll go ahead.
Yes, I'll start.
Yeah, thank you, Ritu.
Never take physical happenings at their face value. They are always a clumsy attempt to express something else, the true thing which escapes our superficial understanding. Never complain of the behavior of anyone unless you have the power to change in his nature what makes him act in this way. And if you have the power, change him instead of complaining. Whatever you do, never forget the goal which you have set before you. There is nothing great or small once you have set out on this great discovery. All things are equally important and can either hasten or delay its success. Thus, before you eat, concentrate a few seconds in the aspiration that the food you are about to eat may bring your body the substance it needs to serve as a solid basis for your effort towards the great discovery and give it the energy for persistence and perseverance in the effort. Before you go to sleep, concentrate a few seconds in the aspiration that the sleep may restore your fatigued nerves, bring calm and quietness to your brain so that on waking, you may with renewed vigor begin again your journey on the path of the great discovery.
Yes, Ritu, thank you so much. So, any questions, comments, reflections, anything we could actually practice in this week that we would want to share with us? So we can do that. if there is anything.
Yeah, the first one, never take physical happenings at their face value. They are always a clumsy attempt to express something else, the true thing which escapes our superficial understanding. So, if we don't know why the physical happening happened, the true thing is escaping us. So, how will we ever appreciate that it happened? The true thing should also be, I mean, known to us sometime or the other.
Yeah, it's like they say that, how it's said that we are mental beings, right? We always try to understand things from our brain, right? Like knowledge, basic facts and logic and however things we think they follow, or why what is leading to what. And yet, when we look at our lives, the same thing that brings me pleasure brings me pain later. The same thing that might be bringing me pain can bring me pleasure or expansion later. So when I look at it, because there are so many happenings that with the mind one cannot understand, the significance of things. But one can realize, one can become, again, again and again, when people have asked, what is divine, or what is that higher power? So the answer that has been given is you cannot know it, but you can become it. So just in that same thing that it's very difficult for us to know things, but if we look at the past patterns, if we are more aware of how things are, if we are more mindful, then we can just have this certitude that, right now, this appears to be this both in positive and negative, but I don't know. I don't know. So let me not judge. Let me not say. And there are so many stories, about this, that thinking that, okay, this is good for me, but turned up bad, bad for me, turned up good. So no, I don't think that we have to know. We think we do specifically what's happening and why. If the time comes, we will get to know that. But for still, we don't know it, because not most things are not understandable by a mental understanding. Just knowing that there must be good in me, good in it. That how can the divine, my mother, my father, who's my true mother and father, who's my divine, can do anything which would actually be not good for me.
Yeah, yeah, right.
And on this, we usually, if we read this sentence again, we usually take discount, like if the outer circumstance is such, then I take it for a discounted behavior. Like I don't act from my highest possible attitude because I'm waiting for something to change outwardly. That when that gets according to how it should be in my limited understanding, then I will be happy, or then I will be fulfilled. So when we read this sentence again, that never take physical happenings for their face value and there is some larger plan, then I can be sure that I have a certitude that things are taken care of, as you were sharing, that universe is for me and not against me, and I can do the best possible I can do, the best possible attitude. So then I will not be waiting for something outwardly to change first and then I should change my attitude. Knowing that things are taken care of, then I can actually take care of my own attitude from which I'm looking at things. Otherwise, if we find always faults in the outer happenings, or then I can't actually possibly take the best possible attitude that no, first things have to change there and then I should change. And secondly, about appreciation, what Ritu was sharing, that then I would not appreciate how would I appreciate things? I can't become too excited then, knowing that, oh, maybe I don't know the larger picture. But I think it's not like that. If you look at it, that if you are taking joy in something, knowing that there is a larger picture, still one can still take delight in it, but my delight is now not dependent upon that thing continuing. That if that thing continues, only then I am joyed and overjoyed. Otherwise, I have no rasa in life, no delight in life. Knowing that there is always a larger picture than what I understand with my mind, still it is possible to take delight in little little things of life. So I don't think it's true that we stop to appreciate. I think maybe we can appreciate even more, because in so-called darker things that may appear like right now dark, you know then I'll be sure that no, there is still a larger thing going on than my head. And little little things which I may miss otherwise, I can still notice that, oh, thankful for this, thankful for that. So I would think that appreciation will actually become more than reduction of appreciation in life.
In the harmony circles, when we take up topics, most of the things end up with this thing that I don't know, right? I can't know the truth, but I can look at faults and give it away. I don't know what to do, but I do know what I do that gets me into, problems and suffering and pain. So I can let go of that. So I think this not knowing, one needs to make friends with it, right? One needs to accept that, yes, that's how it is. And it kind of changes the game a little, because the one who wants to know, that assertion and I think that also needs, and that's like against the ego quite a bit, but that needs to happen that, yes, I truly do not know. And then everything can be taken lightly, that then you don't react that way, you don't get that angry, and if you do, you suddenly become, but I really don't know, I really don't know, because that is the truth. All my knowing is relative. So I think the sooner I see it and accept it, it's good only, and it will help me living a simpler and lighter life. That I don't know. I don't know. Knowing who I am, being who I am, sorry, I cannot know. And for, how it's said that, I don't know whose quote is this, that if you want to be truly sure of what path to walk on or something like this, then close your eyes and walk. Then you will be guided and you will know what your true path is. As long as you are utilizing, I am utilizing my senses, my brain, and it sounds very contradictory, right? And yet, I mean, it's quite beautiful, and it shows the extent to which my knowing actually takes me here and there, where otherwise in faith, it is, I can maybe, but must be, am led where I need to be.
Yeah, now I do understand this a little bit, but till a few years back, I would think that as growing up, you were always told, "ये तो अच्छे के लिए ही होगा." There must be something good in it. So used to find it very lame that, I mean, we don't know anything, but still we are just assuming just to make ourselves happy. Like you tell the children, don't worry, something good. Just
Mm,
like, that kind of a thing.
mm,
Yeah. But since it's kind of abstract, it's
mm,
difficult to actually
mm,
100% believe in it.
mm,
Yeah, I think आप देखो तो actually we don't have to believe in it. It's actually our
mm,
experience. नहीं मतलब with the limited mind, we struggle to make sense of things, right? And when according to my making sense of things, things are not happening, I'm boggled up, boggled up, boggled up, boggled up, right? And then I think it's our experience that we understand better when the mind is in silence. Isn't that our experience? You know what Sri Aurobindo says, that reason is the helper, reason is the bar. So it's not that up till now reason has carried us to this point where we realize that, oh, reason too has its limitations. So I cannot wait for the peace to dawn, that okay, when I will connect dot to dot, dot to dot, dot to dot in my head what's happening outside, then only I can be peaceful. No, now I can't believe in that, because I know that I can be peaceful otherwise also. In fact, that's better, because this also connects with what Sri Aurobindo says, that when the mind is in silence and quietness, then some higher knowledge can dawn, because we want to know. Knowledge we want. All of us want knowledge. But the thing is that the instrument we use for knowledge is like, using a microscope to understand the galaxy. Of course, it has its purpose. Microscope will tell me, okay, what is next, right next to me, in its own little whatever, the lenses it has, it will make me understand. But it cannot tell me, or it cannot show me what is lying ahead. But when the mind is silent, then I think we do get uh, intuitive insights, that I don't know how this is possible, but I know I am being led. There is a knowing, there is a certitude, which is independent of the microscope that I am having. So मुझे लगता है कि it kind of takes us into that domain, that the mind doesn't need to remain restless and agitated just because it has not been able to connect dots to dots in the head. I can still be restful and yet make use of the thought if and when necessary. But as Sri Aurobindo says, that slowly we can actually let go of thought as an instrument of knowledge. That's also our possibility, knowing that how futile it is most of the cases.
Right, right. Taru, you remember three circles you did in harmony circle of we not knowing?
Hmm.
So it's the same thing. I mean, we
Hmm.
think we know a lot and we keep juggling two
Hmm.
things, but actually, by the end of it, when we have to settle down with the fact that yes, we don't know.
And I think once we even touch this space, now that yes, I don't know, then it's like I choose to believe what I am believing, right? I chose it sometime, that this is bad, this is good, this is taking me forward, this is taking me backward, this will bring me pleasure, this will bring me suffering. And yet when I see it doesn't work that way, so now if I have started taking pauses and reflecting on how life was and where it's taking me and how it took me, now I can change my definitions, right? I can choose now that, okay, it's not black and white, or it's everything is not known by the brain. It's a limited instrument. So then I can also, I mean, I can say it's abstract, and yet I can say, but that makes sense at so many levels that I don't know how not to believe in it. So that too gives it power, right? Like, okay, even if I don't know, but I heard that. So maybe that's also true. Giving that opening, giving it that space in my thoughts, even. See, this is also part of, when I'm thinking about 15 thoughts, things, why this happened, what this happened, leaving that room for, but I actually don't know. And it's not abstract. I actually don't know. तो उसमें भी I feel it makes a difference. And when it said, like you said, कि बचपन में भी कि कुछ भी होता है अच्छे के लिए होता है, we were told and stuff. It's not necessary because basically it's not necessary कि जो apparently अच्छा लग रहा हो वो हो. Like my definition of what is good and my definition of what is bad is not the true definitions, right? तो वो I think एक बहुत important point है कि say for me maybe having a settled well kind of earning life is good. And if somebody is very settled, I would say, यार इसने बड़े अच्छे कर्म किए होंगे, right? He must have had good karma to be here. And yet, God's definition of I don't know what good is, right? Because they say that the more you are ready, the more challenges you are given so that you can be more and more and more. So उस हिसाब से just questioning कि okay, this is what I think is good, but I really don't know if it's good for me or not. In Western, like in the sense in Western cultures and in Western countries, the life is more comfortable and there's supposed to be more money floating around or whatever, like the development is more. Yet, if you see the quality of time one spends with the family, with the children, I don't know, it's like it's supposed to be better, but is it? It's like I remember when I was, I don't know when, but it was, this sentence I read that we're keeping on making advancement in technologies to have more time, right? Like if I have jhadu, but if I have vacuuming would be faster. So I'm supposed to have more time, and yet the way the world is working, our lives are moving, I seem to have less and less and less and time. And it's after so many technological advancements. So what is wrong? What is it that's not right, or what is about my perception? Just thinking about these things to rearrange my thoughts and my beliefs also. So, how Sri Aurobindo says that by your stumbling, the world is perfected. So even if what I did is not good for me right now, it's teaching me. Either it's taking me forward or it's teaching me so that I can move forward. So again, letting go of my definitions of good, I think is really needed so that one can move ahead, because it helps us in stepping away from the stories, right? Stepping ahead, that's enough.
I think what you said, letting go of our definitions of good. So just kind of as a prose adding a line to that, so letting go our definitions of good, we can actually begin to see the good in everything. So this would also connect with what Ritu was sharing earlier, that wouldn't we appreciate less? I think then we'll be able to appreciate even more, that each grain, each manifestation, each moment is actually just, filled with beauty and also taking me forward on this journey, whether it appears good or bad.
Yeah. Ritu, would you like to discuss anything else from any other line, or should we move ahead?
Mm. No, we can move.
So I think the main crux was that we spoke about in length last time, that whatever you do, never forget the goal which you have set before you. Right? Then everything, like we saw last time, eating, sleeping, food, and all, it's directed towards that goal. Everything is moving towards that goal in a little or a bigger way. So yeah, that's just kind of making sure we remember that. Yeah. So did we do sleep last time? I think we did. Do you remember? Yeah, I think we did. So we will read this one. So here it says that before you act, concentrate in the will that your action may help, or at least in no way hinder your march forward towards the great discovery. So again, tying it, to the line that we just discussed, like took up, that whatever you do, never forget the goal which you have set before you. So before you act, concentrate in the will that your action, knowing that I don't know, and we're so confused a lot of times in our life. So, but before you act, concentrate in the will that your action may help or at least in no way hinder your march forward towards the great discovery.
This also connects with the prayer that we did last. You remember where Mother was sharing that I may be right now in deep darkness, but unconsciousness, but may this too be utilized towards
Mm.
a greater purpose. Yeah.
Should I
I
pull
think it
that
was
up? It was great. Yeah.
April 28, 1914, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, maybe you can go to CWM on the left side, maybe that would be quicker.
Okay.
Yeah, the mother, from the mother. Yeah. See?
And now I can just do this.
Yeah, now
Okay,
it's
here.
there, April 29, 28. यही था ना?
Mistake था उसमें ना?
Okay,
No, I
wait,
don't think it's a
let me see
okay.
which prayer was it. April. Yeah. Yeah, April 20. Sorry. April 20.
Hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah, Ritu, would you like to read this prayer? I don't see the mistake part, but I think it's
No,
again
it's
also
this one. Not to let me make any mistakes, even if the instrument is still condemned. You know, this one, it's here. Yeah.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, so starting from after having hoped, after having hoped so much, after having believed that my outer being was at last to become an instrument adapted to thy purpose, after feeling hopeful that I would at last be delivered from this obscure and cumbersome self, I feel I am as far from the goal as before, as ignorant, as egoistic as I was before this great expectation, and the path stretches out once again, interminable, across the fields of inconscience. The sublime door has closed again, and I find myself still on the threshold of the sanctuary without being able to enter within. But I have learned to look at everything with a smile and a tranquil heart. I ask only this of thee, O my divine master, not to let me make any mistakes, even if the instrument is still condemned for a time to unconsciousness. Grant that it may let itself be guided faithfully and docilely by the divine law. I bow to thee, O Lord, with a deep and pure devotion. O be the sovereign master of all hearts. Not to let me make any mistakes, even if the instrument is still condemned for a time to unconsciousness. Grant that it may let itself be guided faithfully and docilely by the divine law.
Yes. Thank you. So
Yeah, so it's
basically,
basically
yeah.
we don't know, so you please take care.
And we can only say this when we know that we don't know, right? So again, going that, and lot of times we do feel lost, right? We feel lost at whether this is for the good, whether it's for the bad, whether this was a good decision, bad decision. And sometimes the brain gets tired, you're like thinking and thinking, and it's not taking you anywhere because there's nowhere to go. You can't know. So just this prayer that, not to let me make any mistakes. So if I'm just aspiring that even if it was a mistake, if I'm aspiring for something bigger, it will turn. So just praying that not to let me make any mistakes, that even though I'm acting in unconsciousness, grant that it may let itself be guided faithfully and docilely by thy divine law. So bowing down, again, we see this kind of this beautiful bhakti and love of so many master, mystics basically, that, there's this beautiful thing. I keep forgetting what it was, but it's like, कि राम मेरा अब मुझे भजे मैं करूं विश्राम, like again a Kabir doha in which he is saying, I've done, I don't know, I've ran enough, and now I think it said I'll rest, and now Ram will utter my name and I will rest. So how beautiful it is, that space, if one is touching it. But
I think
yeah,
if you look at it, actually Ram is bhajing our naam,
yeah,
because the universe is working in a way to take us closer and closer towards our true self and make us more mature, more ripened. It's only that we are not ready, at times we keep pushing it away, that please not now, something like that. As Sri Aurobindo says, that limping yes and eternal no, that not now, because we have our own likings, preferences, our own pleasures, addictions, and we are not ready to give them up, because of whatever is unfolding. So yeah, when you were sharing, it appeared to me that, Ram is actually bhajing my name. It's not that he is not. Yeah.
Ma'am, can you share that paragraph in the group after the meeting?
I
Thank
will
you.
do that. Yeah.
Thank
And the line before this, what Ritu just reiterated, if let me not make any mistakes. Above it, it's like, but I have learned to look at everything with a smile and tranquil heart. So I think this would connect with what we were discussing earlier, that never take physical happenings for their true value, because only then I can have a tranquil heart. Otherwise, I will have an agitated heart, because every time something or the other will be happening, which is not according to how I thought it should be. So that will make me agitated. But I can only have a smile and a tranquil heart when I know, as you were sharing, that there are things happening for a reason, and I may not know, but I can be sure of this at least, that something is going on which I'm taken care of, I'm led into the right direction. Yeah. And this also helps me to, this will that mother was asking in those 11 points, also to reiterate to oneself that one is being led. And, the last point that we read, what was it? Can you share the line with me? Yeah, this one. That the will that my action may help, or at least in no way hinder. I think in this also what happens is that if I'm having reiterating this will in me, that okay, may my action only benefit and not harm this path on which I am on, somehow it purifies something within, because we have so many rigidities in our head, that this is how it should happen, that is how it should happen, that when I reiterate this, which is right now in front of me, that let me not make any mistakes, even if in my ignorance, or this one, that let my action help, at least no way, be an obstacle, then somehow something gets purified. And I'm, as you were sharing earlier, that then I'm not able to hold anything too tightly, because what I am now wanting is not that I should be right. Now what I am wanting is that may it benefit the process, may it not harm and be an obstacle in the process. So I think then the will changes, and it also changes When, for example, when at times we are talking to a friend, or we are talking to a couple of friends, and we think that we are wanting a way ahead towards light, but maybe the friend listens to something else, right? The friend doesn't come to you, but he listens to something else. But there is something in you which tells, no, he's in the right direction. So then I would not bother that whether he is talking to me or not talking to me, because I know that he's being led. So whether he listened to me, not listened to me, understood my advice, not understood my advice, doesn't matter. So that becomes totally irrelevant. While what is important is that, oh, if it is benefiting, if the direction is, a positive direction, if the attitude is changing, then that's what it matters. Whether it's coming through me, not coming through me, all that is irrelevant. So somehow I feel that it helps me make my intent more purified, when I know that, okay, the only thing that matters is, may it benefit the path or the people around and myself. Yeah.
Ma'am, so you know, in the progress of making, um, you know, contributing ourselves to the divine will, if I say that my body is my house, if I live, my body is my house, and by doing sadhana, by doing meditation, I'm cleaning it, I'm making it pure, I'm getting rid of distractions, I'm getting rid of all unnecessary things. And the moment the house, which is my body, is clean, my mind is clean, uh, what I've experienced is it becomes more vulnerable to external influences. It becomes the pride increases. Also, I start welcoming more unnecessary things. Like it's like this repetitive procedure. So the question is, once the mind is in control, once the body is in control to a certain extent, how can one, keep aspiring towards the divine will and not be distracted again, or even if he's distracted, how to put themselves back in track?
Yeah, maybe you want me to take that. But what's coming to me is like if somebody says that, how do I not forget? And the question is, why do I forget, right? I think Mother has also in the same line spoken a lot about that. When somebody asks that, how do I remember? She said that just look at why do you forget? How do you forget? So if right now what we are talking about, where it's saying, okay, may everything, have your aim and may everything be guided towards that. So if it's sporadic, then I can understand one can forget and then one remembers, one again, kind of does that, one again recalls. But if everything I'm doing, I don't know, aspiring and little bit I'm just, how it spoke about sleeping, eating, now action. So if it's this way, then it's not easy to forget. It's part of everything that you are doing. So how do you forget? And plus, just because I have forgotten in the past doesn't mean I'll keep forgetting, right? If I'm looking at it in a new light, and one can pray, I guess, not to forget, but it's something that one has to do, right? Like again, it's a conscious will, conscious praying even is conscious, right? One doesn't just say, yeah, yeah, whatever will happen, they'll think of me. You have to say, I want this, I want this. So if that's what you want, yeah, please welcome in the
Uh, just to add on, Taru, to your point, I feel that, one incident I'll share. So, one of my friends I was talking to regarding her relationship with her partner, and she said that, but I imagine that when two fulfilled individuals are coming together, you know, can we live like that? That's what I imagined. So I asked her that, do you really feel that you are a fulfilled individual? And she actually could not say yes. So I feel that when I am saying that I have become purified, even for a moment, I can never ever be sure. So mother says that be very wary of self-satisfaction. Because the moment I say now I am purified, immediately, first of all, it is taken over by the ego, as Jagan was sharing. Secondly, my attention now goes to other people. Oh, I am purified, but what about them? So I think this is a wrong space to be inside our head, and we have to know that this is just that it has been hijacked by the ego consciousness again. So to be vigilant, because this work of purification is a very long and arduous process. It's a very, very long process. So I can never, even for a moment, say that, I am now purified in this moment. No, I think that's something that we should, like in Harry Potter, you said some things you should not say out of your mouth. So it's something like that, that the moment we speak it out or blurt it out, even to our head, the ego has started forming again. So that's what I would place, myself, that not to even for a moment think that, oh, now I am purified in this moment, my mind is tamed, my feelings are purified, now what next? Because that it is just being hijacked by the ego, I have to know. This thought of I am purified is very fact that the ego has come forward. So then there is no, as I think I'm just sharing what Jagan shared, that, that in one moment, if my mind is tamed, my feeling, so I have to know that the work is still in progress. And the moment the mind is pure, like we see on our, like we have houses, one day you clean. If you're truly cleaning with consciousness, we will see that the moment you clean, after a few minutes, a layer of dirt settles on. If you're in India, it settles more easily than other places, because it's loose, dust is all around. So just like that, the moment we clean our sanctuary, the vigilance has to be there, because the dirt, which is the ego consciousness taking over everything, taking over every experience, every realization, it takes over, that I did it, now I am done, I am fixed. That settles immediately. Like, you don't have to put effort in that. The effort is to clean, look at that, oh, it came again, yeah. So just to be very vigilant that we never truly reach.
Thank you.
And just adding on to that, that's a great point. I'm glad we spoke about that. That if one is truly on the path of purification, the more you do it, in the sense, the more you are conscious of it, the more you realize how much there is yet to purify, right? So I don't think there would ever be a point. I mean, if something whole dimension changes, I don't know, but there would not be a point where I'll be say, okay, I'm purified. Because the impurities that one sees in oneself, they're like, oh my God, like the more you look, the more there are, the more you look, the more they are. So how will you clean something in which it's like an endless, bottomless pit of so many things that shouldn't be there, but they are there. So again, this is not a possibility that if you're doing it really, actually what needs to be done, you'll reach that point. So that's a good reminder that red flag, red flag.
Yeah, very true, very true.
Mm.
And you can relate this with how some people are very obsessive about cleaning their homes, right?
Yeah.
So there you see that you, as if you are not one of them, so you may be sitting, and that person is going, you would say, oh my God, it's already okay, the house is already okay. Why are you just going on obsessively cleaning? But in that, for that person, he sees more and more and more to be cleaned, because he is looking for perfection in cleaning, so the more he cleans, so when you were sharing that the more we clean, the more we know that there is more to be cleaned. So same for our physical surroundings also. Yeah. Now we can think of all those people who are obsessive about cleaning.
Ritu, I think you had also unmuted if before Jagan started speaking. Anything?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, so I remember in that book of Jetsunma Tenzing Palmo of 12 years in Cape, she had said the same thing. She said the more she's meditating and trying to know, the more she knows that she knows nothing. So it was at that time, it was like quite striking that how can somebody who spent all her life trying to know, uh, and even after spending 12 years in a secluded cave, says that I know nothing. So it felt how humble she must be. But actually, I mean, we know so little, and I don't know whether we even know this or not. So it seems to be like a very complicated um, maze.
And Ritu, when you'll interact with her personally, na, as in see her in her personal sessions, or even if you hear recordings of when she's speaking live, that
Mm-hmm.
comes across. But I don't know, how would, I don't know, I don't know, again, that's so apparent. And it's like, oh my God, how can you say that?
Yeah,
I remember once, I think I might have shared that somebody asked her that if you could, even asked a lot of people that if you could choose one animal that you are, and where is the progression and stuff. She said, I'll say that I'm a sloth. I'm so slow,
mhm.
slow, so slow. And I was like, if she is a
Yeah,
sloth, then what does that make me or us? So again, it's just so beautiful that it's again, Rumi also says, right, that the further I go, the more I realize how far I am. So it's
yeah,
somewhere in Mother's prayer also, right? Like that the more I go forward, the more you escape me. So it's again a constant theme
mhm.
that the more you go, you never think that, okay, I get it. Because the ego only gets, you never get, you to just get more, kind of like a hook and kind like it's in the sense that grasping or that even this thing that now I know I need to know, question is taken from you, right? You don't get answers. I think
Yeah.
that's a good way of saying it, but the questions are taken from you. These assertions, these provings are taken from you. Yeah.
And you remember once I told you that Taru, since you take the session, you should not say I don't know. That's when I think a long time back when you had recently started, because you used to say this a lot that I don't know. And I would think that no, 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 she shouldn't say that. She should say that I know everything.
Mm. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, funny.
And another thing, what we were sharing earlier about having the faith that everything is going in the right direction. So in Gita also, it's said very beautifully that जो हुआ वह अच्छा हुआ, जो हो रहा है वह अच्छा हो रहा है, जो होगा वह भी अच्छा होगा. So it's so much of faith you need to have.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, but it's just, हम लोगों के लिए ये बस एक words बन के रह जाते हैं unless हम उनको, if we make an effort and put them, bring them in our lives, that if something happens, if Gita Shlok is, resonating, kind of vibrating in me, then things change. And I must do that, मतलब reading it more and more now. Yeah, absolutely.
And also, when Monica was sharing that progress is happening, that's for sure. Sometimes we get distracted. So sometimes I feel it's like a board game, like a Monopoly or something. So we are moving step by step. Somebody's taking 6 steps at a time, somebody's taking 1 step, and somebody's getting stuck, like you get put in a jail, so you lose 2 chances. So the same way life also happens. I mean, we don't know the overall picture, which direction we are heading, and whether sometimes we feel very low, thinking that we are not moving ahead at all, again getting in the same circles. But I think slowly and gradually, maybe it's slow, maybe we can't see the progress, but somehow it must be happening.
Absolutely. Just an example, in Harmony Circle, we had done that topic of faith. And after the circle, I was like feeling very good. And, now that I have a little bit more grip, something felt more expanded. And then at night, yeah, I don't know, something happened that, usually I kept, I don't know, three pillow. I used to keep two, three pillows next to my child who was sleeping on the other side of the bed. And that day, I don't know, I kept two. And then this thought came that, what if he falls? But I said to myself, no, I have faith that he will not fall, that he is taken care of. And within 2 minutes, he fell. Kind of as soon as I slept, he fell. And then suddenly I realized, first sentence was that, oh my God, I said I have faith and he still fell. And then the thing was that the faith doesn't have to be, cannot be that he will not fall. The faith is that no matter what happens, it's good, it's good, it's good. He's taken care of. There is a journey, there is a reason. So that shift I think we need to do because we keep saying that, okay, this is good and this is what I want. And if this happens, then that's again, I think I'm just repeating myself. But yeah,
So in this situation, let's say he fell and he gotten hurt. So won't you feel stupid that why didn't I keep 3 pillows? Or you'll still have the faith that yes, having the faith and not taking much precaution in trying that he doesn't fall was a wiser thing to do.
I think I'll do both. I will keep three pillows from next time, which I did. And yet that, the giving away of my definition of what faith means. If I am thinking that faith means that what I want happens, then that's not faith, right? That's faith with conditions attached. You know what I'm trying to say, है ना? मतलब कि faith कि यही होगा. मेरा faith ये नहीं होता कि अच्छा ही होगा. So just kind of stepping back from your question that no, what I do or in a regular thing, that's irrelevant, but having got the definition shaken up and
Yeah,
seeing that again I'm limiting myself, right? When I'm putting conditions to my faith. And if it's not there fully, कि I cannot say कि जो होगा अच्छा ही होगा, I will instead of three pillows put four. And that's good. I must do that. But at least I can now stop, kind of I lying to myself कि I know what faith is, right? I know that okay, this is the faith and maybe I cannot have it right now. So at
yeah.
least that's honest, है ना? So again, everything is coming back to, the center of operation. So what am I doing? Why am I doing? If there, it has some, kind anchoring. If I am anchored to something and everything is happening with that as my anchor, then things seem to be going good. Yeah. So, Ritu, would you like to read this?
Yeah. Before you act, concentrate in the will that your action may help or at least in no way hinder your march forward towards the great discovery. When you speak, before the words come out of your mouth, concentrate just long enough to check your words and allow only those that are absolutely necessary to pass, only those that are not in any way harmful to your progress on the path of the great discovery. To sum up, never forget the purpose and goal of your life. The will for the great discovery should be always there above you, above what you do and what you are, like a huge bird of light dominating all the movements of your being.
Yes, thank you. So first, just focusing on this one so that we can look at it together. So when you speak, when I speak, before the words come out of my mouth, I must concentrate to check my words and allow only those that are absolutely necessary to pass, only those that are not in any way harmful to my progress on the path of great discovery. Again, it seems like a prayer, and Jagan had actually spoken about this a few weeks back to me. Exactly this, that too much unnecessary we speak without any limitations. People ask us one thing, we tell them 10 things, and how one should move, go about that. So here it is again an answer. Again, how they say that Rome wasn't built in one day. So giving ourselves that time, that light, that kindness, that yes, at least I know this is where I need to be. I might not be there at all, but it's better than not knowing that where I have to be. And then at least the journey can begin, right? And if we have ever done any silent retreat, I don't know of 1 day, 10 days, 5 days, whatever, with anybody, one experiences this right away and then one forgets that when you actually start speaking after a silent retreat, it feels like so much effort. So again, we are limited beings technically the way we live, and we have this much energy, this much, I don't know, willpower, this much attention span. So where am I, kind of spending that? So when we are kind of not, losing it in our action, words, thoughts, sleep, food, then it's more concentrated. So then it's not lost in the petty. I have it. I can do something more worthwhile with it. So it has so many more benefits than we can possibly see. And I think here the speak would not just mean, I mean, it can just mean what I'm speaking. But even again, I personally, for me, I feel that how the train starts. You see something, earlier you say something, but now you say, okay, I don't want to say anything. It's fine, it's their journey. And yet the mind starts talking, right? But is it good? Is it not good? That thing, अरे ये तो उसके लिए अच्छा होगा ही शायद कि I know again that starts. So again that thinking, even if it can stop towards that thing which doesn't concern me and nobody's asking me, then I don't need to go there. So again,
Somehow
like
this
it
is
said, check
very
your words. Yeah, sorry. Please say I didn't
like
say.
it kind of attracts us, pulls us. It feels as if we are not in our control. So not till that extent, but even talking kind of attracts us.
Hmm.
Many a times I feel I'm not going to talk much, but then I again start talking. So limiting ourselves not to talk much, at least, especially when it's not required, is not easy.
Absolutely. And yet, when I end up talking about things that actually mean nothing, or they actually because I do comment, right? I do judge, and they make me by the end of it feeling heavy and as if कि कुछ अच्छा नहीं हुआ है ना, मतलब एक feeling
Mhm.
सी रहती है mostly when I am totally into unnecessary, and till that feeling comes, it's fine. Like do it, like I said, है ना? I mean, we do it, not just saying you do it, we do it. Till धीरे 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 again, it's a slow process of refinement, right? कि अगर हर चीज वहीं डायरेक्टेड है और दिख रहा है कि कैसे ये मुझे इम्प्योर कर रही है, so it gets harder and harder because I'm fine, like you said, it feels really good, it feels very pleasurable. बट अब मुझे प्लेजर के साथ जब ये भी दिख रहा है कि मुझे कितना हार्म कर रही है, like say for example drinking coke, right? Like it's so thrilling, that fizz that you feel. Oh god, मुझे thumbs up याद आ रही है, कितने साल हो गए. But it's I don't know, it's like it feels divine when you're just, I remember, having that, and yet knowing that just how harmful it is, you don't drink it. And yet that proving that it's harmful took time. पर जब छोड़ा तो छोड़ा, तो अगेन आई थिंक इट्स समथिंग लाइक दिस कि जब दिखने लग पड़ता है कि कैसे हार्म कर रहा है, तब इजियर हो जाता है छोड़ना, और रस कम हो जाता है. Yeah.
But see, when while growing up, the more we talk, it's supposed to be the better. Let's say we are in a class, or we are in a interview, or we are in a office situation, in a meeting, board meeting. If we remain quiet, I mean, it feels that we don't know anything, that we should participate, that we should show our intelligence, our smartness, our thinking, how we can be witty. So it's against it, because at times we are looking for reasons to talk. Okay, even if I know 1% about this, I should say something. I should not
Mm.
remain quiet. But then moving forward, we see how futile it is sometimes to just talk. So, like once you said, no, it's learning and unlearning. So first we learn how to keep talking, 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 so that we can prove our smartness, and then we have to remain quiet, maybe to prove ourselves our smartness. So it's strange.
हम्म. देखो यहाँ पे एक कैच है कि वी डोंट नो हाउ टू स्टॉप, है ना? जैसे आई एम गोइंग टू, आई डोंट नो, टू अ मंडी टू सेल थिंग्स, and I have to shout, I have to make my presence felt for me to sell what I have to sell. But when I come back home, I can stop shouting. But our problem is that we think it's so smart to shout or prove that we know, that we don't, kind of know when to stop, and that really harms us. I have a nephew. And lot, he's a genius and he thinks too much. And he always has, very long answers for everything, very well thought of answers to everything. And yet, if you ask him a simple question that, how are you? He's never able to say, I'm good, or, I'm not good, but he's like, okay, I'm good, but this, but, it's like that thinking. I feel when I, talk to him, that what a overutilization of something which is kind of not needed, right? That tark with tark, that reasoning, that justification, we don't need it in all comments and all things. But because I think like that, and then I'm always over kind of, you know, I don't know what word to use, but that hits me when I talk to him, that it's never a simple answer mostly. It's always followed by but and yes and if and three conditions. Okay, this could be it, that could be it. It's not a yes, I don't know how I started and how did I reach here, but इतनी जरूरत होती नहीं है जितना हम कर लेते हैं. जिस चीज में जरूरत है उसका रुकना भी one has to know. Yeah. Sorry, you were saying something. I kept on talking.
No, no, I think I said in schools there's a debating series and wherein the more you can or prove yourself. This.
Your voice, I don't know, was cutting for me. I don't know whether it was at my end or it's cutting. Can you just repeat what you said at school?
Yeah, schools, there are these debating societies, and then there are these MUNs wherein the children they go and represent their school, and then they talk about some topics, and then they s- against and for counter and for. So I mean that's like so much of effort one has to do
Yeah. And
in
yet, if a
debating.
child keeps debating, right, for each and
Yeah.
everything, even when there's no debate going on, that's who we are. That's what we become. So if I'm debating in a debate, it makes sense, right? If I'm practicing, that's great. But if I am debating in each and every sphere of my life, it's exhausting, right? And then
Mhm.
I get tired. I think that's the point. And in Buddhism, it's so beautiful in nunneries and monasteries. It's like, say, there are 2 points, right? One has to debate towards, and the other person is debating again. And then they even, I think that's at least my perception, that then you go on the other side. And now you debate on the other side about that. So kind of, increasing that your own expanse, that it's just that I am a good speaker, I can prove anything, I can talk about anything. It's not that I have to stick to things. So I found that interesting and a bit, more holistic, that yeah, everything is not true. Okay, this is where I feel. Yeah, yeah, sorry about that.
Compared to how in schools we were encouraged to talk, this question I put forth a few weeks ago to you, ma'am. The concern was that the question in mind was that in a professional environment, when debating about a topic or handling the client rebuttals, I've learned that you know s- informing them only what is necessary is important, and not give away too many details. And I've always had a challenge with that, because when I talk, I talk everything. Like I told you the example also, so that's how I used to talk. I was never allowed to, you know like, people didn't, like, my manager didn't trust me that I would handle the client request accordingly. I'll share some company details that I should not say, which is why I put for the question. But yeah, somehow this session kind of answered this question.
Yeah, I think this is a good point to stop, because here the points are ending, and then what comes is, what comes after when we do this, where it leads us. So again, today we spoke about, the action, speaking, and to sum up how the two I said, okay, yeah, sorry, we must take this. To sum up, never forget the purpose and goal of your life. So again, this is tying up to the beginning. The will for the great discovery should be always there above you, above what you do and what you are. Like a huge bird of light dominating all the movements of your being. It's so beautiful. Like again, this line, I think it's a lesson very well learned, should be always there above you. It's bigger than me, above what you do and what you are. Lot of times there's so many petty fights we keep having, within ourselves and outside, to prove, oh yes, I am right. No, you are wrong. This is my thinking. This is superior than you. And yet I keep discounting my peace, right? That, proving that I am right is bigger than, okay, having harmony. And until we stop, we don't see what we are doing. So if I tell myself that that is bigger, my goal, my purpose, what we have been discussing is bigger, then the small things that I am involved with, that I need to prove, I think that really changes things. And once you remember this goal, you're able to kind of direct your life towards that. So you're like what you are, like a huge bird of light dominating all the movements of your being. That is guiding you, it's dominating, and you are being led. Any more questions or reflections on this last sentence? I read it again to sum up. Never forget the purpose and goal of your life. The will for the great discovery should be always there above you, above what you do and what you are, like a huge bird of light dominating all the movements of your being.
When Ritu ma'am was reading this before the previous paragraph, that's when I thought that this session answered the question, because keeping that bigger picture in mind, I think automatically helps. In my case, maybe it helps in filtering all the unnecessary things that we put out and just stick to the topic. So yeah, so that is a paragraph that is very interesting. Ma'am, if like I know I'm asking you to share all these details, but if you can at least send this to me, I'll save them.
No, I
Thank you.
will be happy to share it in the group. Matlab, why not? Like, the more we
Yes,
read it, the better it is. So these were based on 8 points given by the mother, which she feels are, really important for anybody on the path of yoga. Yeah.
yes.
So I had taken
Thank
out some things from the sunlit path that we thought, we had discussed we'll do about sleeping, eating, and all. So we'll take them next time. So we'll end the session here. So thank you so much for joining in, for coming. And just before we end, taking a few minutes, sorry, seconds, few moments to just express our gratitude towards, the divine, the energy that has helped us, enabled us to become part of something expansive, which can take us beyond the mundane. So much grace that we have access to so many talks and passages, and sharing the merit of any interaction of this session with everybody. May I be joyous and peaceful. May everyone be joyous and peaceful. Yeah. And this is what I pray and my dedication. Thank you so much. Have a good weekend. Hopefully see you tomorrow. And yeah, okay.
Yeah, thank you.